Conventional wisdom. Ever wonder how the Earth was made? No? Well, too bad. Once upon a time, God said, "Let there be light." Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm not even a believer. Around 4.6 billion years ago, Earth formed, and at that time it was just a cluster of gases and solids floating in our atmosphere. The whole surface was molten, and the only thing you could see were volcanoes. From these volcanoes came out gases like sulfide, methane, and carbon dioxide, which together formed our beautiful blanket in the sky, called the atmosphere. Eventually, after a very short wait of half a billion years, the Earth finally cooled enough to be able to collect water. At that time, around 3.5 billion years ago, Earth had no oxygen, no grass, and definitely had no photosynthesis until photosynthetic prokaryotic organisms came into play. These organisms, or cyanobacteria for short, would taste the sun like a plant and poop out oxygen as waste product. These little microbacteria would trap and bond sediments, creating epic looking structures called stromatolites at the bottom of the sea, also known as layered rock. For another very short wait of 1.1 billion years, oxygen was being mass-produced in the oceans by cyanobacteria. However, dissolved iron in the ocean prevented the oxygen from reaching the atmosphere, causing a red-colored iron oxide that descended down to the ocean floor. Only so much iron was located in the oxygen that when the cyanobacteria fused with all the iron in the ocean, the remaining oxygen began to rise towards the atmosphere. Of course, iron was also located above water, which fused with iron-enriched minerals, causing the creation of iron-rich red beds. Once the process was completed, oxygen finally declared independence and began to stay in the atmosphere. 2 billion years ago from now, oxygen made up 1% of Earth's atmosphere. What about the other 99%? Glad you asked. Methane began to clear up in the sky, causing that very overrated blue color you know and love now. While methane was clearing up, carbon was decreasing because of the cyanobacteria using up carbon to produce oxygen by photosynthesis. Oxygen was slowly rising up while taking carbon down in numbers, which began around 50 million years prior to the Great Oxygenation event that happened 600 million years ago. With all the oxygen floating around aimlessly, the ultraviolet lights began to split most of the molecules, resulting in the ozone layer. This finally helped trap oxygen in the atmosphere.
Alright, thank you, Anthony. Great performance. I'll take it from here now. I too want to take credit for this project as well, you know. We are at 600 million years ago now. These next 50 million years are pretty dull yet very crucial moments. Throughout this time, the Earth was grinding and building up a lot of oxygen, which later provided for the Cambrian explosion. This big event that happened 550 million years ago was revolutionary for life then and now, with the help of oxygen. This process that kept living organisms alive with oxygen was called aerobic metabolism, which is considered by experts, scientists, to be more efficient than anaerobic pathways. However, for this to work, the atmosphere needed to be at least 2% oxygen by volume to help form compounds like collagens that are used by all animals. However, Earth managed to have a whopping 15 to 30% oxygen level by volume. Good job, Earth. Unfortunately, like all good things, they must come to an end, such as the end of the Carboniferous period, about 300 million years ago. Oxygen, on the other hand, was thriving, and even reached a new record of 35% by volume. This could explain the massively large bugs and amphibians at the time. However, the levels of oxygen began to decrease as well due to rainforest diminishing in numbers. This dropped the percentage down to 21%, where it remains to this day thanks to the carbon-oxygen cycle, keeping it steady. Today, we still have 21% oxygen, 78% nitrogen, and 1% of carbon and other elements in our atmosphere.